All right, Nick here in part 4 of the Create Your Own Seduction method. So we're just going to continue on and we're going to talk about fast tracking your results so that you can start seeing them really quickly. And in fact, I'm going to be giving you the strategy I use that probably created the biggest increase in my abilities. And here's the thing, I can almost guarantee you're not doing this. And because of that, you've remained stagnant. Here's what it is. You're not tracking your progress. You have no sort of tracking mechanism. And what that means for you is that you don't know where you're getting stuck. You don't know when you are losing the girl. You have no clue if you're actually improving in the first place. And you have no clue what to improve. You're basically trying a whole bunch of random shit and hoping something sticks. Now listen, this is what led to my fastest growth period ever. I simply started tracking everything in my interactions. And, I created this little thing called the Adonis Black book that helped me to figure out exactly where I was doing things properly and where I was fucking things up. And we'll talk a little bit about that in a minute, but using this tracking mechanism, I began to notice patterns that were completely out of my awareness previous to that. And because I started doing this, I went from banging 1 or 2 girls every couple of months to 20 or so per month. And not that I recommend doing that many girls because it gets a little bit hectic, but those are the kind of results that are possible just because I was able to track, figure out where I was messing up, and fix it. Because once I was aware of a problem, it was a piece of cake to eliminate that little problem. Awareness is really the key, and tracking leads to that awareness. Hey, why don't I share with you some of the mistakes I noticed early on that I was making? I was playing it way too safe. I wasn't pushing the boundaries, and therefore I wasn't getting the girls excited, turned on, aroused. I was walking off when things were going perfectly well. I have a little bit of attention deficit disorder. I would notice that I would be doing really well with a girl and then just walk off for no real reason. I guess to pursue other girls, but that's just silly. Also, I was not pulling the trigger when she was clearly ready to hook up. I would think that, it's only 10 o'clock. I have to wait until last call until I can pull her home. And by that point, she felt a little bit dejected and didn't really want to hook up as much. So those are just some of the mistakes that I was making back then, amongst many other things. So what I'm currently developing is an app for what I would personally track if you were using my methodology. But this is not really about my methodology. It's about your methodology, you creating your own stuff. But look for that. It will soon be available on the Play Store and the iTunes Store. But, like I said, this video series is not about you using my methodologies. It's about you creating your own methodology. So let's get into some practical suggestions for you tracking. First off, it doesn't need to be anything fancy. When I started out, I was just using a simple pen and piece of paper. And, the funny thing is that blank piece of paper was also really motivated. I did not want to go home with a blank piece of paper. I didn't want to look at this seeing, oh, well, I didn't do anything tonight. So use that as motivation for you to want to feel it out. Then what you're going to want to write on there is 3 things that you are specifically working on that night. And these are 3 things that you think that you need to improve upon. Don't do any more than that. I know a lot of guys that want to master seduction all in one night. And I can guarantee you, if you try to master every little aspect of getting a girl into bed, you will fail miserably. You need to be able to target in on just a few things per night, and you're going to find that you are quickly able to eliminate any of those problems that you're having. But don't focus on any more than 3 per night. Next, you're going to want a list of all of the elements you believe are necessary for sex. And, this is your method, this is you creating it, so come up with what you believe is necessary for you and the girl that you want to hook up. And then start checking it off. Finally, you're going to want some sort of follow-up. You want to know, did you get her number? What's her name? All of that kind of information. And make sure that you're following up on these leads. Are you getting a bunch of numbers but not really calling them afterwards, trying to set up dates? Are you not trying to take them home that same night like I would do? Where are these girls that you are approaching slipping through the cracks? Let's get down to the final lesson here. Unless you're tracking, you'll never know where you're getting stuck. In fact, I actually believe that just by the mere act of tracking, even if you're tracking random stuff, you're going to be improving. Just because you are now focusing on something. You are focusing on those results and finding out what works for you. your homework is to start tracking tonight. That's the end of this video. I'm Nick. Go out there and get some.